Good morning and welcome back to the channel. Today we're going to be talking about aperture, the third piece of our puzzle. We started off with ISO, then we talked about shutter speed, and we're now talking about aperture. If you haven't seen shutter speed or ISO videos, I will link them in the description below. If I forget to do that, then just have a look in my playlist. These three are the pillars of the exposure triangle, and you use these three to basically balance out your images. ISO, you can change your light brightness but not the physics of the image. Shutter speed, you can change the brightness of the image but it may affect the motion, the blurriness within your image. And aperture, like I said in the intro, is the third piece of the puzzle. We're going to move on to what it does now. It can change your image to go brighter or darker, but it affects the image in certain ways. So let's get into it. Like I said in previous videos, I have made a cheat sheet for these three pillars of the exposure triangle. I'll link that in the description below. It's completely free. Have a gander, download it now, follow along with the video, download it onto your phone, take it with you. It's just a PDF and it just explains what ISO, aperture and shutter speed is and what the exposure triangle is, and points to note. So if I miss anything within this video, which I hope I don't, but if I do, it'll be in that guide. So like I said, download that now, have a gander, and let's get cracking. So what is aperture? Well, in plain English, it's the size of the opening of your camera lens that lets the light in. Think of it like the pupil of your eye. The bigger the opening, the more light. The smaller opening, the less light. And it's measured in f numbers, so f stops. You might have heard it, or in video terms, in cinema lenses, it'll be t stops, but we're going to be talking about f stops with photography, like f2.8, f1.4. On here, inside you have particular blades. You can't really tell. What I'll do, actually, I'll use my my vintage lens that I've got here. Let's take that off. Tiny little beast. You can hear it here. It changes the. Oh, not going to see that. Oh, there we go. Look, you can kind of see it. It changes the aperture. There we go. That's cool. That. Oh, we got there in the end. Changes the blades of the aperture. 2 seconds. It's a good lens, that is. 1.7, that all goes all the way down to, but nothing is sharp in 1.7. So here's the tricky part to sometimes understand. The lower the number, so 2.8, the bigger, the larger the opening. So you might hear people say, I'm going to shoot wide open, or everybody shoots wide open. It's because they shoot at the lowest aperture. And then higher aperture, so like f22, which goes all the way over to the other end, is the smaller the hole. It lets the less light in, so the darker the image will be. There's a few trade-offs to both of these. So usually if you're shooting wide open, like I said with this, if you're shooting wide open at f1.7, this old lens, like, nothing is going to be sharp no matter what you do. It can be in focus, but it's not going to be sharp. Excuse me. And then if you go all the way to f22, that's also going to be usually not very sharp. So you have certain sweet spots, and the reason why it won't be sharp is scientifically, I was going to say basically, but scientifically, the way light is manipulated inside the lens. You basically become to the edges of the glass, and it's just the way light refracts and reflects. I'm not going to get into it, but scientifically, it's pretty savage the way that a lens can manipulate light in the first place. Excuse me. But you have different things. You have like diffraction and stuff like that. So you might have a shooting wide open. You might have purple fringes within your image if you're shooting towards the light. And you'll see, like I said, purple on the side. The reason that is because the light is broken apart. The light waves aren't brought together enough. But if you stopped down to like f4 or f5.6, you won't get that, you shouldn't get that fringing anyway, because the light is a bit better. So I want to go too much of a tangent, but there's quite a lot to cover with aperture. It's not always best to shoot wide open, so you have like a sweet spot. So for example, you could spend £2,500, £3,000 on a lens that will shoot f1.2, but the actual sweet spot of that lens might be like f4. Excuse me. And then you'll have an f4 lens, and the sweet spot might be like f8. What I'll do is I'll get the whiteboard out, trusty whiteboard, and we'll have a gander, and we'll look at that now. Here we go. I wasn't actually going to cover this in the aperture lesson, but now we talked about it, I thought it was quite good to cover, because a lot of people don't really talk about it. Let's say we have 1.2, let's just say it goes to 2.8, then 4, it goes 5.6, f8. You might buy a lens that's f1.2, and it's really good. You think it's really cool because it's f.2, but the actual sweet spot of that manufacturer might be around here. And then you buy an f2.8 lens, and the sweet spot where everything works, like it's in focus, like the colours are right, the way that it renders its colours, the saturation, all that good stuff. You start off at 2.8, but the actual sweet spot is like 5.6, f8, something over here. So a lot of people don't really talk about that, but people just shoot wide open because they like the separation of their images and the stylistic look. But I just wanted to point that out. Hope I haven't complicated too many people. Let me know in the comments below if I've complicated it. Whilst the board is here, we'll talk about it. f1.2, f22. There's two other big factors. The reason why I said about stylistic look, you might have seen people have blurry images. The car's in focus, but the background's out of focus. Excuse me. So f1.2, the subject will be, let's say it's the person. We're a car channel. We're a car channel, so we're going to have a car. You know I love drawing cool cars. And an f22 at the other end of the spectrum. Oh my god, horrific card. I'm going to blame this on the man flu. The house in the background, the mountains in the background, they're all sharp. So everything is in focus. This might be quite good if you just want to show off the car and you want it nice, wide open, stylistic look. This might be quite good for like photojournalism, for example. You want to show the story, so let's say you're shooting a Ferrari and the Ferrari, what do you call it? The Ferrari factory or something is in the background, or a racetrack's in the background, or you want to try and get your subject and the car in focus, not just like the eyeball in focus. So what we're going to do now is we're going to go outside, and same as the other videos, I'm going to show you in practical terms. Good, my light's just gone out, great. It's battery powered, so cool. I'm going to show you in practical terms how the aperture affects the image and what does what. So let's get on it. I'm going to take my tripod and my camera so that I can film and show you what physically happens in the image. So let's go. And here we are outside. Apologies if it's a bit windy. Also, the exposure's going in and out. I've literally just had to run into the back of the car to shield myself from the rain whilst I was setting things up. My tripod is at work. My ND filters are at work. My polarizing filters at work. And I feel pretty bad for it. But we're going to talk about aperture, and I'm going to show you through with the R5C. Just going to turn it on now. I'm going to put it to 1.8 because that's what my little 50mm goes to, and I shall show you on this screen. So as you can see within this image, we're at f1.8. My ISO is at 160 because it won't go down to 100 because this is a video based camera. I've also just had to change my video from shutter angle to shutter speed so I can demonstrate this I'm not going to talk about shutter speed versus shutter angle. That's going to come in a later video. So it's also just obviously doing this so I can record it. It'd be different in photo mode. But at 1.8 you can see that the background is blurred. What I was going to do is I'm going to take an image in a second and I'll show you the image and explain, obviously, and show you the background, zoom in a little bit, all that good stuff. So I'm going to take a photo now. So here's the image. This is at 6,400th of a shutter speed. So remember what I said in the shutter speed video before. If you didn't see that one, I'll link it up below. 6,400th of a second to get this exposure. And then what I'm going to do, I'm going to change my aperture to f16 because we don't want to go too far to f22 like I said. So f16, and I'm going to bring my shutter speed back down, all the way back down, so that you can see a nice balanced image. Pardon me, 1/50th, which would be good for video, which will come in a later video, but 1/50th. And as you can see, everything is in focus. The background should be in focus, and the whole car's in focus. The sun keeps coming in and out, so it's all, the exposure is terrible. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to take another photo of these settings, and then we'll do a side by side, and you can see what is the crack with aperture. This is the other image. I've just changed, when I took the photo, I changed the shutter speed to 1/100th of a second to try and balance it out. f16 and ISO 100 to try and retain the highlights. You always want to retain the highlights and try and keep the details within the highlights, because there's a lot more information you can get from shadows, but once you blow out your highlights are gone. If you had this image that was too bright, it'd be very, very hard to get any information back. But if you had an image that was like this and it was a little bit too dark, you would still be able to get some image information back. But rule of thumb is try and get it as best as you can in camera. Now, apologies, like I said before, for the blimmin' sun going in and out. This is not an ideal situation, but I hope you learnt something from this. We're going to head back inside and back to the studio, and we're going to grab a conclusion. And that is us back in the studio. Hope you enjoyed the little outdoor bit. It's nothing much, just wanted to demonstrate it in practical terms because I'm a visual learner. I don't want to listen to too many people for too long. I like to show what's going on. When I first started out doing photography and videography, I just rinsed YouTube University like I still do. I went out, took notes on the notebook, and then just, I watched videos, took notes on the notebook, and then went out, practiced, and went, what was that? So yeah, love it. But like I said at the start of the video, if you've made it this far, thanks very much. I have linked in the description below a cheat sheet for you to follow along. So this is the third part of the pillar, like I said, of the exposure triangle. So you've got aperture, ISO, and shutter speed. I did it in ISO, shutter speed, aperture. Apertures today. Let's go. And also, excuse me, man flu has still got me. Also, like I did in the last videos, I have a car beside me from my limited small Hot Wheels collection. I just thought this would be a fun thing if you've made it this far to comment below which car. This would be a controversial car. A lot of people don't like this car. I love this car. Let me know in the comments below what car this is. And like I said in the last videos, I have the cheat sheet down below. Don't forget to download that. It's free to download it onto your phone, take it out with you. You've now got the three parts to the pillar of ISO, shutter speed, and aperture. And if you haven't watched those two videos, then get on it. I will try and link them in the description below if I remember. But yeah, that's pretty much it. I hope you learned something today. And like I said in my last videos, hit me up on Instagram if you find this helpful. If you want any car images or bike images reviewed by me. If you're struggling with, you can't get Aperture to do something, or I don't understand why shutter speed's doing this, or why ISO is acting like this, comment below. I'm here to help. I'd love to help you all out. That's why I started this series and this channel. I want to help everybody on their journey and provide value. I remember when I first started out, it was just an absolute nightmare trying to get around the camera settings. And I might have just like moved a few dials and it brightened it or lessened it, but like, why does certain things do certain things? Or if I've covered something in this video and you're like, oh, I didn't know that actually did that, or that's why certain images look a certain way, I didn't realize that it did it like that. So yeah, I'm waffling now. My man flu, my ears are popping, my nose is streaming out, and I just can't breathe. So thank you very much for getting this far, and let me know what you thought about this video. I just want to bring as much value as I can, and yeah, thanks very much for stopping by. Like, subscribe, don't forget to download that free pack below, and thanks very much for watching. I shall catch you in the next one.